everybody. Jaysin Static with another episode of the interview series. I am Jaysin Static. You, sir, are...
The Jet, Benjamin Trust. What's up, everybody?
Benjamin Trust. How long have you been in the wrestling business?
So, I started training to be a wrestler in 2016.
Okay.
I trained for a whole year before I had a match. I wrestled all of 2017. Then I took all of 2018 off.
Okay.
Wrestled most of 2019 until about September when my son was born. Came back. World shut down because of COVID.
Right.
When COVID ended, this is the most consistent, unbroken period of pro wrestling I've got to do. So, I'm just cooking on all cylinders.
So 4 or 5 years, give or take, maybe a little bit more around there?
Yeah, I'd say post-COVID's like 3.
Yeah.
3.5.
All right, man, this is how we do it. We got 2 questions for you. Are you ready?
Yep.
Let's see if you can do this, man. Which skill or piece of information do you believe would have been beneficial to learn early on in your career that you didn't learn until later on?
So my career, funnily, has 2 phases.
Right.
When I got into wrestling, I was about 160 pounds.
Huh?
And I would do all these flips and all this dives and all these exciting moves. And I was like, man, the crowd just pops.
Right.
For all these big moves.
Right.
And I'll eventually get over one day. And, then I had a really rude promoter tell me I was too skinny and I'd never be a star.
Right.
So then I bulked up and I changed my style completely.
Yeah.
And, having a look will get you somewhere too.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's what I'm trying to say is there's no one right way to do this.
Right.
So that's probably the biggest advice I'd give is there's no one right way to do this just because one person, even if that person is the most prominent booker at the time or a really, really important person on the indie wrestling scene, even if they tell you one thing, it doesn't mean it's the only way.
Right. So what did you do that you said that you had the rude indie booker? What was it that you changed specifically besides bulking up? And what was it? Was it that interaction that made you change your mind about how you were doing things?
Yeah. So that interaction hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
So then I was like, okay, I'm going to cut these moonsaults and these dives, and I'm going to just focus on telling a story in the ring.
Right.
And then
lean more into a character.
Yeah. And it's funny because no matter what, people are gonna. When I was a skinny flippy guy, they would just say, "Oh, he's a skinny flip flopper." And then when I'm bigger and focusing on the stories in the ring, they say, "Oh, he's just a body guy and he can't really wrestle." So just do what makes you happy.
Yeah.
If you're having fun, if you're doing good, if you're selling tickets,
right.
If the fans are into it, you're doing the right thing.
Yeah. Something that I always tell guys, and correct me if you think I'm right or wrong about this, is I think just because one guy says something about you doesn't mean it might not work for what they're doing. But you can go to someplace else and what you're doing there might work over there.
Oh, yeah, I'm 100% behind that. Wrestling can be unforgiving.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And I don't go anywhere I don't feel wanted.
Right.
And there's a bunch of great companies that I don't wrestle for and I don't have any animosity to. I don't think anything bad about them. But if I don't have fun at their company, if I don't see a spot that I could fill in and be productive and be helpful to what they're trying to accomplish, they don't need me. There's always going to be 50 indie guys trying to get on every show. Just go where you can be the most artistic, the most creative, and you can help out the most.
I think that's a good mindset to have. Is you want to be productive, but you also want to give the company value.
Yeah, and there's plenty of companies.
There's so many.
There's good ones here in St. Louis. I drive to Wisconsin. I drive to Indiana. I drive to Kansas City. I drive to Nashville, Louisville, Kentucky. There's always going to be a company that needs a guy like you.
Right.
I always find a place for this.
Some might tell guys, I go, and a lot of people think it's wild that just within 100-mile radius of St. Louis, like if you take the St. Louis metro area and you make a 100-mile circle around it, there's probably 25 to 30 companies within 100 mile of St. Louis.
There's 10 in St. Louis. There's 20 in Chicago.
You know, so there's, you know, if one
everywhere in between.
If one company doesn't work, if you know, we're sitting here at PWE right now. If PWE is your vibe and it works for you, and you can build value and you're productive for the company, do that. If you know MMWA or one of the other companies, you know CHWA or any of these other companies, if you feel like you hold more value there, do that. You know, you essentially in this game, in my mind, is you want to go where you're going to be the most productive. Yeah. And at some point in time, you're eventually going to leave every one of these companies to go bigger and further and further and further. Yeah. You're eventually going to... happiest too. Right. I absolutely agree, man. First question, I appreciate you, man. Thank you. The Jet Benjamin Trust. Are you ready for this second question?
Yeah.
What's your favorite TV show or movie?
Oh God, I hate.
And how did you relate any of its themes or characters to your wrestling gimmick?
So
I know one for sure. It's definitely Pokemon, right?
Yeah, okay, no, I hate Pokemon. Actually, I like Pokemon in real life, but the Jed hates Pokemon.
Right.
I'm just gonna ignore your question entirely and say what I want to say. The biggest. And that's what I do in most interviews. So if you're ever planning to book me for an interview, just know I'm probably going to ignore most of your questions. The biggest annoyance I have, not annoyance,
right?
I'm saying this.
I like honesty,
for
man.
Fun, is people call me Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you clearly didn't watch Top Gun. Like, I am doing Iceman reference. 100%.
I get it. Yeah.
Like, some people don't. They'll just be like, you're not Maverick. You're not, or hey, Top Gun. I am Iceman. Like, when I wanted to become this character, I found a bunch of 80s movies. Mm-hmm. My first thought was be an 80s bully.
Right.
And I started out as the Jet. I was Ben the Jet Rogers because I was doing all this flippy stuff when I was fast. And I ditched that, did the United States Slam for a while. And I'm back to the Jet. When I brought him back, I was like, I want him to be this 80s bully. And I was watching all these movies, and I would skip the parts with the babyface, the protagonist.
Yeah.
And I would just listen to the things the bad guys or the antagonist of the movie had to say. And I just resonated with Iceman. Felt like I looked like him the most, and I could just use a bunch of the Iceman shtick. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm doing the Iceman movie.
The funny that you say this is you inadvertently answered the question exactly the way I wanted it.
Okay, well, there you
because go. You said you didn't give me a particular movie or character or anything, but you said 80s bully.
Yeah, yeah.
Which runs the gamut of, you know, like you could think of, you know, Iceman. You could think of the dude in Karate Kid. Cobra Kai, the stereotypical 80s bully.
Hating all the bullies I watched.
You know, so it makes sense, and that's something when you started this new gimmick and everything like that. I was like in my head, I'm like, he's doing a fucking 80s bully gimmick.
Yeah, and you know the best thing about doing the 80s bully gimmick is a lot of shows that you're going to be on as an indie wrestler are going to be PG. Uh-huh. And if you go look at these 80s bullies, a lot of them are...
A lot of it's PG.
I got dweeb over.
Yeah.
And it's not a curse word. You will never hear me cuss on the mic at a show.
Right.
Because I don't need to. I can just call people a dweeb.
Right.
And I get one of the loudest pops, you know, or
right.
4 eyes or this or that, you know.
Your typical 80s...
Told a kid he looked like he failed lunch class the other day.
Right.
You would have thought the roof was going to fall off the place. Yeah.
Man, I appreciate this question, man. And that you answered exactly like I wanted you to answer it. Okay, well, I knew you would. At first, I was like, okay, am I going to have to press and pry on him a little bit? Because I'm going to get this answer out of him one way or another. But then you answered it exactly how I wanted it. Do you have anything, upcoming promotional stuff, websites, upcoming shows, TikToks?
I got Hardcore Benny t-shirts in the works.
Ooh, okay.
Soon, so make sure you get your Hardcore Benny
shirts. You definitely need those Hardcore Benny shirts.
I know. I think this is dropping the 17th, you said?
Yes, sir.
So on the 19th, I'll be in Kansas City-ish area. Okay. I'm wrestling Mike Seidel.
Ooh, okay.
So that match is going to be fire. make sure you come see me. Locally, I'm at Pro Wrestling Epic a lot. 01.
Mm-hmm.
Go up to GLCW and SSW. I'll be at WrestlePunk soon, I'm sure. Just make sure you check me out.
And you're out and about and along. You're bullying people all over the Midwest, man.
The jet touches down wherever the jet touches down.
The jet touches down where the jet wants to touch down.
Exactly.
Exactly.
You know what I'm talking
exactly. About. And I'm gonna side.
Follow me on Instagram.
I'm gonna side with you.
Facebook, all that stuff.
I'm gonna side with you on one thing, man. There's too many freaking dweebs.
Too many dweebs.
There's too many freaking dweebs in
Funko Pops.
Funko Pops. All these Pokemon guys.
Yeah.
What is up with this stuff? Get that stuff out of the wrestling industry. We don't need no more dweebs. Smelly, dirty, stinky dweebs.
Here's where the start is. You're supposed to be a tough guy. You're trying to win a fist fight in a wrestling match, and you got these guys that are more worried about Funko Pops and video games and Fortnite and all that.
Yeah.
They're not focused on building muscle.
But they don't have the guns.
Building athleticism.
Right.
And winning pro wrestling matches.
And that's all wrestling is about, is cashing checks and kicking ass.
Thank you.
But we're gonna
Nice man, Jaysin.
We're gonna wrap this up just like we always do. Before that, check out Ben on all the social medias. We'll make sure we have it in the comment section below. Make sure you drop it in the comment section below if you like Ben Trust or if you don't like Ben Trust. Is Ben Trust a dweeb or is he not a dweeb? I don't think he's a dweeb. I like Ben Trust. So let's argue about it down in the comment section below. Jaysin Static across all social media on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Check me out. Fight Club Wrestling Academy on Facebook, YouTube. That's where we're at right now. Hit me in those comment sections. And last but not least, we changed it up. We're not running with the 138co.com anymore. I've scrapped that website. I'm thinking of something new. I'm going bigger, better, badder. I might even try to get a little bit of muscle on it because that's what Ben Trust told me I needed to. He told me I'm a fat, smelly dweeb and I need to get some muscle on me. So I'm going bigger and better in 2025. And I hope you guys are too. Ben, appreciate you, man. Thank you.